All right, we'll get started. It's 1 o'clock, so thank you everyone for joining us for our October webinar. Hard to believe it's the end of October and, really moving into a busy month, especially with all these changes coming up in the life insurance product. Hopefully we'll get to cover a little bit of that maybe in next month's webinar, though as I understand it, the underwriters are pretty busy right now, seeing about what I've heard as a 4 times increase in applications. For everyone not familiar with our software, if you're viewing us for the first time, we do basic webinars as well. This one's not too complicated, but we will be focusing on a few different, a little bit more advanced topics on ways to present life insurance solutions. But if you haven't before, sign up for our 30-day free trial. If you're looking at us, again, activate your account. You're really going to notice a real uptick in sales and the ability to really present product. One of the first topics that we're really focusing on today is positioning products around time. One of the most powerful things about using visuals to present, insurance solutions and really information in general is that we can really focus our clients' attention around time. So, even if it's a term 10, maybe an existing one, we might still be able to compare it to an existing term 10, a new sale. Like a new issue of a term 10, like a recycle basically, by focusing the time frame around 10 years. We might also be able to sell them up to a term 20 if that's the time frame that fits their needs. So we're going to work with a little bit around how we can position products around time. Some people look and say, LDA is a fantastic tool at upselling whole life, but sometimes my clients can't afford it. So we're going to show a few strategies to just really focus in on our clients' time frames. The next strategy we're going to show is basically making an insurance plan for a client with changing needs. And again, as I said, this is a lot of our clients. They do have, changing needs where, again, when they're young, they're going to need maybe more insurance. They have a lot more debt load, and as they, get older, they have less of a need. Kids mature, things like that. So we're going to design sort of a strategy for, showing a client who has changing needs, how their insurance can adapt over time by making a plan. And this sort of concept was actually inspired by, a blog post that I'm working on about, why do investment advisors get to have all the fun in making, these financial plans? Why can't we help show different plans instead of just having one product? How do we layer products and present solutions like that? The next one is presenting whole life for kids, and again, I think this is a great strategy. A lot of people say, I don't want to really approach my clients about whole life for kids. There's a lot of clients out there, though, who have maxed out the RESP, and again, a whole life policy or, even an overfunded UL for a child is extremely attractive from a return on investment standpoint for, maybe some of your higher net worth clients or someone who already has maxed out that cap on the RESP. So we'll just show how to make it a little more palatable. And again, it's a great sale and a great way you can add value to your clients, even as far as opening up for a conversation about it, might lead to other sales. We're also going to show combining plans. And again, when I'm showing that insurance plan for a client with changing needs, I might sort of mix that in with the combined plans. And then finally, we have a few new features we wanted to show off that are upcoming, as well as a couple housekeeping items. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. I'm going to log into my account here. And again, LDA is, for those not familiar, is a full web-based system. So again, this is something that you can log into from really any connected device. So again, if you're on your laptop, tablet, it makes a fantastic solution because, it is so flexible. Again, something you can do in the office and pick up on your tablet, so it is convenient that way. The first one that I want to focus on is positioning products around time. So I'm going to start with a brand new case, and I'm actually going to make a new client for this scenario. I'm just going to call him Father Time. I'm going to skip the birth date. I'm actually just going to make him 40 when I get into the case, and I'll do a mail here and hit save. And once I do create this client, again, they're in the system forever. That's one of the benefits of having a cloud-based system, is that you're not constantly having to re-enter the client information. Again, I'd encourage you when you're actually doing this, be as specific with birth dates as you can, because as clients age in the system, they will age in our system as well. But for this case, I'm going to say we're going to make a 40-year-old person here. Or actually, I'm going to start with 50 for Father Time. And I'll work into, when we do an insurance plan, I'll pick someone younger here. So I'm going to do a 50-year-old male. I'm going to pick $1 million here. And what I'm going to start with is basically I'm going to start with a existing term policy. So it's going to be a good opportunity to show off, we do have a lot of those integrated rates provided to us by LifeGuide, but lots of times you're going to be reviewing an existing policy. So I think it's a good place to review, we'll put in a policy of, maybe a policy bought about 5 years ago. So I'm going to say this is a term 10, and this is going to be an existing policy. So I'm going to say this is an existing term 10 here. Now basically I'm going to enter in the renewal premium. You can guess these as well. I'd really recommend being specific if you have the contract. And I'm just entering the annual premium here for this contract that I'm looking at. So I'm going to enter all those down there. And 61040. Now this particular plan is renewable till age 85, and it's convertible till 75. Now the neat thing is when you give a plan an issue date in our system, and again this one was back in 2010, so it's about I guess 6 years old by now. I'll give it a fake policy number here and hit save. Basically that's going to add the existing plan, and whenever there's an issue date in our system, that automatically tells our system to take off a certain number of those premiums that have already passed, and that's going to give a client the idea of basically how far into this policy they are. So a lot of the times when I do these kind of comparisons, I show a full term conversion, a lot of people have said to me over the time, that's fantastic, and again, I wish my clients could, sort of afford that full conversion, but what opportunities are there if not? Well, you might start with something kind of the unicorn sale, say what you think your client should have, or the most permanent product, because again, it's going to be around. I think a lot of clients underestimate, their time frame or their need for insurance. But one of the features in Life Design Analysis that I really like to point out is this analyze to age or analyze years. And I don't know, if you've ever seen Robert Geniak speak, he's one of the authors that writes actually a great book, and he talks about the client's horizon and helping them see their horizon. Different clients have different horizons for what they're looking for in their insurance need. So someone, younger might have a 10-year horizon, and we might just want to focus in on that, whereas someone else might need permanent and we want them to focus on the whole horizon. So by using these analyze age or analyze years functions of our software, you can really focus in on your client's time frame. So I want to just show a couple examples of how we can evolve this. So let's start really short. So again, we've got an existing term 10. We could go to the full, the full conversion, but let's even look at it as if we're, we want to sell a brand new term policy. We have a client who maybe can't afford, a full conversion, but we still want to show them some sort of value. And again, it's never too late, anything after 2 years really, you can always go and reapproach your clients. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to load in our basically saying add a term product, and again, all these rates are integrated right from LifeGuide, and I'm going to search here, and I'm going to survey the market. Again, we're going to get a basically a listing of all the different companies out there. And I'm going to go with this SSQ term 10. I'm going to add it to the cases right near the top of the survey. And I really want to focus again on a great new sale. So again, we've got this policy saying, you bought this when you were, I guess, 6 years ago. So this client being 50, they bought it when they're 44. We want to show you, look, your age is the valuable thing. So even though you have 4 more years in this plan, you may want to kind of look at a new product here. So let's look at this SSQ term 10. And again, great way to reach your clients while they're still healthy. Again, health is one of those things that we really need to pay attention to. A lot of people think they'll be able to buy insurance forever, but it's a lot. You can reapproach them and lock in that time frame. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this time frame to look really short term. And again, that's one of the neat things is that I can still focus in even on 10 years for this sort of comparison and hit generate report. So even though I'm going with, it's a term 10 that they bought and I'm just going with another term 10, there's still opportunities to, really customize and really look at that time frame. So again, what we're going to see is because this policy is in force, again, we have an issue date of 2010, they only have 4 years left at this $1,000 premium, and then it jumps to $7,360. Or again, they have to reapply with new meds at their increased age. Now, we're going to show them a solution, basically showing them another SSQ term 10 product here, years 1 to 10, $1,560. And again, this can still be a great strategy because historically term prices really have gone down. They're at a historical, quite a low point. So you might find value for your clients just by positioning it around time and their health. Again, when we look at this annual premium schedule, yes, it's a little bit more expensive. So it's about $500 more per year. And again, feel free to knock that down monthly if you feel it's more palatable. But really what we want to show them is, when they hit that renewal in 4 years, they're going to be 55. So they're either going to have to reapply and be healthy, or again, we want them to lock in here before they hit that mark. Again, when we look at it as a sum of premiums or as a cost comparison, again, we can show a little bit more that they're going to pay, but they're locking in at these nice term rates right now, and ultimately it's it's better than the policy they're holding, taking those guaranteed renewals. Again, you could illustrate it even at 4 years as if they reapplied, but I guarantee, if you lock someone back in at their current age, that's going to be the cost savings for them. So it's really how do we help show them that. Now, the neat thing about working with something like time is, again, a lot of you are familiar with this graph. When you control that horizon, just setting it to 10 years, it focuses the client's attention on exactly what you've set up. And again, when we look at this, this is still a $32,000 savings for this client because they haven't hit that guaranteed renewal of their existing term. So again, it can be still a great way using time to really focus in on this client. Now let's go back again. We're going to push out the time and we're going to look at it even further. So again, I'm going to get rid of this Term 10 product. We'll get it out of there. And we might add another one in there. So we might say, yes, you bought this Term 10. Maybe they bought it 6 years ago for a mortgage. Their mortgage was 25 or 30 years. So we might want to say, look, it's a great time. Maybe even with some companies you can rely on that exchange. You might say, look, we can exchange that existing Term 10 to a Term 20, and here's how that compares. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I'm going to use those integrated rates. I'm going to say plus term. I'm going to select my term length of 20 years here and repeat the search. And basically all I want to show here is how we can basically pair different products using time. So again, I can go down the list and again, I'll just pick SSQ, they're right here. Great product. So put them both in there, existing Term 10 versus now a Term 20, and I just want to show again, now we're going to push out our time frame to 20 years. So what we really want to do is we want to focus our client's horizon as the analyzed years or around age. Again, these work together. So whenever I adjust the number of years, that compares it to a certain client's age. And again, our client being 50, of course, in 20 years, they're 70. But again, what we're really doing is we're focusing our client's attention over the time span or the horizon that we really want them to focus in on. So same sort of report. We've got Father Time here. He's bought that term policy with us. And, we might start out with this one, and we could always work back to that Term 10. We can always work back to a more refined time schedule. But I think it really highlights, over the next 20 years with your current term policy, you have this strategy here. Or we might even be able to exchange you. Again, most companies are within the first 5 years. Some are within 7, though. So again, reach out to your wholesaler for information on what they have as far as exchange policies on existing terms. But again, it's a great strategy to show your client here, look, yes, you're locked in at this nice low rate, but it's only for 4 years. Then we have to reapply. And we might be able to either change you to this, or even if they have to go with new meds, again, it's going to be valuable because of their health at their younger age, and just their younger age in general, even if their health remains the same. Now again, great sort of comparison. What we're seeing in this is we're seeing a few more of those term renewals. So they'll get the initial renewal, which we sort of focused in on that first comparison at 10 years. But now we've pushed it out a little bit. And again, the idea is that we're pairing it with that longest term product. So, client has this red line existing. This is the path they're on of the annual premium. And we're just comparing it to another option, that Term 20. Again, great comparison. And what we can see here is, again, a really nice savings after the 20 years. So again, if we ask our client, which line would you prefer to be? Well, again, a fantastic sale. And again, if we're covering something like a mortgage for them, we've saved them a considerable amount of money. So just by using that time schedule, basically we can control that. Now another one I really like with this is, again, forgetting even an existing Term 10, even if it's a brand new policyholder, if someone comes to you for a mortgage, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this first one, you might show them something like, a Term 10. So let me add a Term 10 back in this comparison. So I'm going to hit plus term. Most mortgages, at least in Ontario, I don't know, it may be different in other provinces, we used to see the 30-year mortgage. Now the maximum, I believe, is 25. There are some neat products, though, that you can really work with time. So again, I'm going to add an equitable term 10 here, just at the top. And I've got my SSQ term 20. Now, a great compare used to be term 10 versus term 20 versus term 30 for someone with a 30-year mortgage. What I want to focus on, though, in this one is maybe adding something with a unique term. And this is kind of neat in our software. We've got this one called Opti-Term. And basically, it lets you, and I believe the company that does this is Industrial Alliance, but it essentially lets you specify exactly what term length you need. So, if you have someone with a, maybe they're in a specific retirement age, or they're really focusing in on a certain time point, again, you can specify the term length that you'd like. I'm going to specifically pick a term 25 because I'm focusing on a mortgage scenario, and I'm going to search the market. Again, yeah, you can see Industrial Alliance has that pick a term, and I can add it to the case. Now, anything past that 25 years, it essentially turns into a YRT, but it's a really neat comparison. And the other thing I want to do in this one, again, you can see I've got options to change the order. So if you ever add, something out of the Life Guide integration that's a little bit out of order, you can also use these up and down arrows to actually kind of adjust that time frame. I'm just going to move this one up. And I'm going to move it up one more time so that the term 10 is at the top and the pick a term is at the bottom. And really, the reason I do that is I want that cascading premium as it goes through. Now, the other thing is I want to focus my time frame on specifically a mortgage, so I'm going to say the 25 years. And again, even though that T20 was, far and away better than that existing term 10 they had, again, we might show them, someone with a brand new mortgage, here's term 10, here's term 20, and here's something specifically, adjusted for your time frame. And let's just generate that and see how that works. So we'll generate this report. But you can see, no matter what sort of products you want to show your client, really by working with the time frame or their horizon that's relevant to them, they're going to see the natural benefit of upselling to these other products that fit their time needs better. And a lot of it is just helping them see that. And a visual really does that because the charts are always paired exactly to their time frame. So again, here's a nice annual premium schedule. Again, no surprise, the term 25 is, slightly higher at the beginning than those other products. Some might say considerably higher than that term 10. So again, if your client objects and says that's way too much premium, you can always go down. Again, you can always refine that time frame. And in fact, you can even go to the very top of a case and adjust the time frame right once it's generated. So just show at the top there is a option to change time, and you can do that dynamically when you're actually in a case. So feel free to load products and always work around with that time frame. Again, 3 products here. We've got a great comparison. And again, what we're going to see at the end of the day is that a product suited for that client's time frame is actually going to obviously be the most effective. Now, I know I'm showing you this, and everyone here is saying, well, yeah, that's obvious. We already know that. That's not essentially the point of LDA. What we want to do is we want to communicate that to our clients, and we want to do it in a very, very simple way because a visual, again, custom tailored exactly to their time frame, is going to show them the product that's best for them. And again, if we simply said to our client, look, this is your cost. You have the 3 products. We paired this comparison exactly to your mortgage. Which one would you prefer to be? Most would probably say that light blue line, that one that's specifically tailored, to 25 years. And again, it's reflected as well in that presentation summary. So that's a great way to, sort of work with the time metric and really customize based around your client's horizon. One really neat thing, though, again, with some of these products, again, let me just for curiosity's sake here, we're going to push out this time frame to, maybe we want to say actually age 99 and save that. We want to show, again, how you can instantly update a case to show, a different time frame than you might have initially started with. So as soon as I update that time frame, again, the screen share's got a little bit of a lag there, but the whole case has been successfully updated. And now when I go into this comparison here, we're going to see a lot longer, lengths of renewals. And that term 25, after the 25 years, is not going to look really great. In fact, you can see it goes from 4,000 to 40,000. So again, it sort of acts as more of a YRT, as we can see, after that 25 years is up. So, looking at the big picture, we certainly, we probably wouldn't want that term 25 that was best for that time frame. But that's the important thing about working with time and really helping show your clients, what happens to these products over time and really refining in on what's important to them over that time frame. And this one, again, the SSQ comes out the best at that time. But really dramatic change of how we focus these graphs and how we can focus our clients' attention around time. So that's sort of our first topic. The next one I want to kind of focus on, and I'm going to basically make an insurance plan for a client with changing needs. And this is a really neat concept again. So I'm going to make another one. I'm going to say a brand new case here. We'll move on from this case here. So I'm going to just use our handy sidebar here. Again, for those of you not familiar, these are nice little shortcuts to all the other areas in the site. So I always like to point these out when, sort of when working in a case that, if you ever need to quickly jump around to different areas, again, you can quickly add a new case, go to your managed clients. My favorite one is jumping back to the last case. So if you ever need to, sort of move around, you absolutely can. So I'm going to say let's add a new case here, and we'll go into a new comparison. I might even make a new client for this one as well, and I'm going to say this is junior time. Again, I'll make this a male, and I'm not going to give it a birth date again. I'm just going to use our age override function just because I don't want to figure out backwards what someone who's 40 now is, because I'm going to focus on a 40-year-old here. So I'm going to use the age override. Again, this is just to point out, the age override can be used as I'm using it here. It can also be used, if we had entered a birth date, it would show you an age nearest. You can use it to forward date or back date as well. So it's really neat. You could also use it to estimate premiums. So, if we needed to quickly check what term cost when someone was 35, again, we could override and immediately go into that. Right now I'm going to stay on topic though. We're going to focus on a 40-year-old person here. I'm going to work with a $1 million insurance benefit again, but any face value really works for this. And a lot of people would say, when we do these presentations, we'll sometimes present whole life, a full $1 million of paid up edition, and clients say, well, that's great, but not every client, again, has that premium capacity to pay for it. So, what about our clients who have, maybe more changing needs? So they need a little bit of permanent and maybe, some term riders. Well, one of the neat things when doing permanent, I'm going to set this up two different ways. So the first way I'm going to do it, and probably the easiest way, is if you can design it in the illustration software and bring it in, that's really one of the easiest ways because you can control everything, from the renewals. And in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus on Equitable Life. And what I've set up here is basically the Equimax Estate Builder. But again, any different company out there works like this. The next one we do, we might use SSQ as well, just because they have a great layering of products as well. But really, any company out there, this kind of strategy generally works with. What I've done here is I've set up an Equimax Estate Builder. But again, if you like their wealth product, feel free. I've put a face amount for the base of the whole life at $333,000. Again, thinking about our $1 million, I'm basically going to break this into 3. Now, under the Riders tab, and again, I've made that a 20 pay as well. Under the Riders tab, I've added 2 different riders, each for, again, basically a third of that $1 million, $33,000 or $333,000 for a tenure that's going to last for 10 years, and then it's going to drop off. And the whole point here is that I don't want my renewals to show up in there. I have a client who's, maybe a little bit younger, 40, so they need some coverage when they're young. They've taken on a lot of debt. Maybe they still have student debt. They've just bought a brand new house, young professional. But we want to make a plan for them for life. So we say, you will need $1 million today, and it'd be a great example to do a needs analysis on this client to, really, figure out all those specific needs, and some of them are based around, maybe a mortgage, but as he pays down that mortgage, his need decreases, and as the kids grow up, they get through college, again, he may have less of an insurance need. So what we're basically doing is designing, a par plan here with, 1/3 term 10, dropping off after 10 years, another third T20 dropping off after 20 years, and we're still going to have that base of 1/3 whole life on a 20 pay estate. And what I'm hoping here is that, again, we're going to cover the high insurance need in those younger years. Then it's going to drop off and sort of reduces insurance coverage. What I'm hoping, though, is the cash value in that whole life is actually going to be higher than the premiums paid at the very end. So really easy process to get it from the Equitable Life software or any insurance software out there. Always 2 simple steps. And again, when I show at the end, we're going to show a really neat update that's, doesn't completely eliminate this, but is going to certainly help. We're going to say view the spreadsheet here, and it gives us basically what I like to think about as a fingerprint of the plan, and we're going to export it to Excel. And again, this is basically all the data on this plan. So it's going to send it all to Excel. Now all I have to do is select all of it and copy it. So I'm just going to wait till the screen share catches up here a little bit. Basically it sends it to an Excel sheet. From here, I can select all of it and copy. A lot of you wondering maybe, how did he select it like that? You know, you can do these keyboard shortcuts. One is Control-A to select it all. In Excel, this very top left button here actually selects everything. So if I just click this little top left button here where my mouse is, and hopefully you can see that over the screen share, it will select everything. Now again, all I'm going to do is here, I'm going to right click and say copy, or again, if you're familiar with the control shortcuts, you can do Control-A. And I'm going to come back to Life Design Analysis. Once I have the information from the spreadsheet, that's all I need. Now, basically I'm going to add here the whole life company that I've designed the quote for. So in this case, I'm going to say add an Equitable Life whole life. And it gives me two options to either drop that whole spreadsheet in or paste it. And I'm just going to say paste spreadsheet here. And again, we do this for a couple reasons. Again, we want all the customizability of different dividends, term riders, ADO, any different offset, really specific. So again, I've got Equitable Life here. I don't just maybe want to call it whole life. So again, I might go in and edit this plan as well and give it a really, really specific name. So, you know, this could be Equitable Whole Life, or this could be, you know, Equitable Life Estate Builder. And into the description, I might say, you know, 1/3 permanent term, 1/3 term 10 rider, and 1/3 T20 rider. And again, you could say designed to drop before renewal. So again, I might, you know, again, if I'm working with an actual client, I'll probably polish this a little bit more. But just to set it up, again, just to give you some ideas on how you can kind of work with the descriptions in there. Again, you can give it a lot more specific description. I've even seen these kind of description areas used for, you know, someone might say this is the rent plan for term versus the own plan. Now, let's just take a look and see what our changing need is. Again, you don't necessarily always have to have something to compare it to. You know, if we're just kind of setting up a showcase, as I call it, where we have one product, we can certainly do that and basically make, you know, make a plan over our client's changing time. And again, the goal with this one that I'm going to try and accomplish is essentially to really show, you know, again, we've got the high insurance coverage over time, but I want the cash value really to equal what I've paid in premiums. And again, I think that's really compelling. So again, being a 20 pay, you can see after the 10 years, our software's recognized that, yes, the price changed. And why is that? Well, that's because that term rider fell off. Now, again, at the 20th year, the price ends altogether. We have the term 20 rider coming off. And again, we've designed this product as a 20 pay. So really nice, you know, kind of description. Again, you could pair this with even just, you know, a minimum funded UL done in the same sort of layered manner. Again, a great strategy. So again, annual premium schedule, a little bit of a boring chart right here. You know, I'd look at the reduced and see, even on a reduced example, stays a 20 pay guaranteed. But if you were doing, you know, shorter pay lengths, or if you had other products, it'd be more compelling. The total cost of this is just under $200,000, and they're actually finished at age 60. One of the things I really like about, you know, kind of thinking about time frame is just having people think about, you know, when you're thinking about retiring and when your income's going down, isn't it nice to not have a payment for your insurance? Again, there is cash value, so this is one of the great things that I was hoping that would be the case. So after 20 years, again, I can see, you know, we've paid $190,000 in premiums, and we actually have back $291,000. And again, that's just that permanent base. That's the cash value on it. We can see things like guaranteed. So if our client asks us how much is guaranteed, again, we can actually basically, you know, promise that we'll get their money back. Let's see here, 180. So again, essentially, we can guarantee at year 21. If they never issue a dividend, you can have all your money back if you cancel. But it's more likely we'd see a total or even a reduced value. And again, of course, we can contrast those. One of the nice things about our software is that you can offer your client that transparency. I think the important thing on this one, though, is that we've kind of designed a solution that's going to have those insurance needs. But, you it's going to offer more cash long term. And again, this is something where, this plan actually has more cash than I anticipated it would have, so it's something we could even think about leveraging later on. But we'll take a look at that insurance benefit. That's going to be kind of the neat one. Now, this is what I think is really the interesting part, and this is what I wanted to focus in on this case. So, again, we've got this client. We know, when he's younger, he's got this insurance need of $1 million. He's 40, he's got the house, he's got all that kind of stuff. After 10 years, we designed that Term 10 rider to fall off. And so, what we're thinking here is basically you've made some principal payments onto the house, and the total liability outstanding has reduced, or maybe the kids have grown up a little bit. Probably not someone 40, but you know what? It depends on your client's age. What I'm showing here though is basically as our needs change, again, we've reduced the insurance. Now the neat thing is that those paid up additions are actually sort of fighting back against it. So again, we've still got the T20 rider on at this point. So even after that Term 10 drops off, you can see the insurance benefit here, $727,000. So we've reduced it a little bit, but not completely. And again, those paid up additions are really growing back. So again, we're almost back at that $1 million by the time that the T20 sort of ends. Now at this 20-year mark, again, our client's 60. Now we certainly hope that the kids are out of school or out of the house, though I know it's not always the case when I speak to some of my advisors out there. Again, we've got great paid-up addition coverage here. So even when that Term 20 rider drops off, our insurance is still $628. So we haven't dropped actually below $500,000 of insurance, which is really nice for this sort of scenario. And again, it's a great way to max out a little bit of permanent base, but kind of tackle those changing needs. And again, you can see by the time we get actually out to here to age 85, we're back above that $1 million mark. So, thinking about things like present value and inflation, again, we've got a great strategy for someone with changing needs. Now, it doesn't have to be always whole life with term riders. I want to show this case another way here. And, I used to call this the kind of the trifactor. I would do it a lot with clients, and again, it does hit a sweet spot for internal rate of return and things like that when you have a little bit of term, you have a little bit of permanent, and you have a little bit of UL. So I want to show a way to really combine all three of those. Now, what I'm going to do here, and we can actually compare it to this Equitable Life Estate one, but what I want to do here is I want to take, maybe the same sort of mix. So I'm going to do 333, 333, and a little bit more, one extra zero. And basically, I want to find out what the term costs. So even if I don't want to go into the illustration software, I can do a search for $333,000 worth of term, and I'm going to use Term 10 in this example. Now, one of the things is if we go into here and actually look at some of the products here, if we add them to the case, it's going to add those renewals to it as well. So, if we want to focus even on a specific company, I'm going to mix some of the companies. You might want to focus in within a specific one. But you can actually just grab the premium here and copy it. And you could always go back to this case and say, if I don't want to add it with the renewals, because I want this Term 10 to drop off after 10 years, what I'm going to do is I'll actually add that premium as a manual. So again, I can add it automatically, or I can do this manually. So I'm going to say this is part Term 10, and I'm just going to give it 10 years here, and that's all I'm going to put on it. I'm going to say, and that's for the insurance benefit of 333, 333. So whenever you're comparing or using different face values from the total insurance benefit, we want to make sure we document it down here. And that's only when it's different from that total. If you're doing a complete apples to apples comparison, again, feel free to leave just the face value in there. And now, again, what I want to do is I want to add some universal life, basic minimum funded for life. So I'm going to search the rates here and say let's add some UL here. Again, we're just going to do some minimum funded and search those rates. And again, we can add anyone to the case here. Let's add BMO. We'll add their product there. And again, notice I'm just using that 333 value. What we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of transition into that combined plan strategy and show you how you could set it up with some Term 10, some Term 20, and some UL. And I don't mean to say you necessarily might do this from an underwriting standpoint, but just to illustrate how you can combine plans and layer these products. You find the best way that makes your life simple when it actually comes to selling it, whether it be one company that you're issuing it with or using the riders. And again, I just want to grab the rate for T20 for 20 years. I'm just going to say 20-year term, but I don't want the renewal, so I'm just really, when I do this survey, I'm really just going to grab that premium. And again, I'm going to grab, I'll grab Foresters here and copy it. Again, I go back to the case. So, if you don't want those renewals in there, feel free to just use these manual areas. They give you a lot of control over what can be added. And I'm going to say this is term 20, put in my premium, and say 333, 333. Save that. So I've got kind of what I used to call the trifactor, and again, it's a neat little comparison because again, we're going to see those changing insurance benefit needs. What we're going to do though to layer them, even if they're separate products, so even if you wanted to do some layering with CI and term, maybe a UL with a term rider where someone, a company doesn't offer it. Even I've heard of people, they like to issue a separate term policy than doing it layered with a whole life because, if the client ever drops the whole life, well then they have to drop the term policy too, or they have to lapse it. So some companies aren't as flexible like that. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit combine. When I hit combine, it's basically asking me, okay, which of these companies do we want to combine? There is no limit. I'm just going to select the ones I want. So first I say I'm going to select the term 10. Next I'm going to select the term 20. And then I'm going to select that UL. So again, slightly different way to layer the products. Not saying necessarily you'd pick 3 products from different companies and combine them, but just as a way to really illustrate how we can design things for clients with changing needs. I always say, why do the insurance agents get to have all the fun? Or the investment advisors making plans, we can also make an insurance plan for a client with changing need as well. And again, my total here is going to be 999, 999, though it's going to fill that in from the plans if I don't. Again, let's generate this and actually see how they look. I'm actually kind of curious to see how this one will turn out. It'd be interesting to see, sort of the different changing premiums over time of which one's better. Again, we might find that the UL is going to be, much less costly. It's not going to have any cash though, so we'll see if the premium deposit difference makes up for any of that cash value. And again, it could be a neat strategy to show, a couple different options of how we can change our insurance needs over time. Again, just generate that, and we'll take a look at the report. All right. So again, nice title page. And again, those of you not familiar, I want to mention these things. And if you're a veteran of our system, you can upload your logo. These are all customized for you. You won't see our name on it when you sign up. Again, we've got the prepared for the client name. Again, we're going to see a little bit of a funky schedule here. We've got 10 years at this premium. Again, we've got our term 20 at the next premium, and then our level minimum funded for life, where it kind of drops down after those term riders come off. So again, we've got a declining cost, which is again great for our clients. And this one would be certainly a less expensive option than that whole life one. So again, still a way to add that coverage in there for the the young time in life when you need the high coverage, but certainly a more palatable premium for our client. Again, we're going to see kind of the changing costs here over time, all the way to age 99 when we stop paying for that BMO. Again, at 20 years, we see our costs go. 10 years, we see our costs go down. And that's those term riders. Again, remembering we only designed them for 10 years, and then we designed them to drop off. We didn't want those guaranteed renewal schedules. So interestingly enough here, actually on a premium summary, at age 99, they basically equal the same. So again, if we were actually thinking about it in terms of life expectancy, we are definitely going to save some money with our UL option. I don't think that's surprising. The interesting thing will be to see, of the cash value. So again, when we mixed our plans, and I'll call it our Frankenstein, or what I used to call the trifactor, again, we can see, no cash value in that one option, whereas the other option has all that cash value. Again, with our BMO insurance, our other hybrid, still the same sort of thing. Now, we don't have the paid-up additions to, increase that insurance benefit, but if we want to show someone some changing insurance needs over time, it's, a phenomenal way to do it. So as we go through the years here, again, we're going to see, term 10 drops off, term 20 drops off, and we still have that permanent base. Now, again, we can see our costs are a little bit higher versus the benefit we get versus something like this PAR plan, but it was a lot less money, so it may be more palatable for our clients. Now you can also overlay them to really show how those paid up additions give the kick. So here's our overlay of the insurance benefit. And again, I think it's a fantastic visual to show, really the value of that paid up addition. Again, look how much extra insurance is added on the long haul because it's constantly buying more insurance. Again, so in the, at the very end of it, actually, because that UL keeps going on, if we take this client out to life expectancy, there's about a $47,000 difference in premium. Again, it's all how we get there. So each year, even that first year, it was $6,000 difference. So, not necessarily anything to sneeze at, but not a huge leap over time. If we take that, again, we can divide it monthly and say, for the extra investment, is it worth the cash value? What we will see here, though, is, a cash value difference. Equitable Life having all this cash value in that PAR plan that we don't have in the other one. And again, we're going to see an insurance benefit difference here as well, because again, here our insurance is declining as the term riders fall off and that minimum funded UL is not increasing, whereas the paid up additions certainly help here. So again, even at the end of the day, we have $1 million extra of insurance for that solution. And again, it'd be a great upsell. But here's two different ways and two different ways to skin the cat, two different very drastic premiums, but they would also solve that goal of changing insurance need for the clients. So hopefully that kind of illustrates it. And again, you can look at it as far as internal rates of return. And again, it'd be interesting to see, our UL is definitely going to be stronger. If we go out to life expectancy, our PAR plan is actually winning from an IRR standpoint. So pretty neat way to kind of compare different products for changing times. The last one that I want to do here, because I've kind of covered combined plans in that one, the last one is presenting whole life for kids. So again, a lot of people say, how do I do that? What does it look like in the software? Again, let's just add a new case here. And in this one, I'm going to, again, make a new client. And this one, I guess I'll go baby time. And again, I'm just going to say this is a male. Again, I'll give it a birth date in the system and say save. So we've got baby time, our client created. We're going to continue here and design a case for them. Again, you can enter their birth date. I'm going to use the age override and say this client is 1 year old. And again, I think this is a fantastic strategy because the premium is so little. It gives these, there's two real main advantages. One, I wouldn't suggest not doing RESPs. I think they're great. I think kids, especially in the future, are definitely going to need to go to school. Some parents concerned about, will they actually use it? Will they go to school? I think today's day they definitely do, and it's definitely a gift from the government, the RESP. But a lot of people are maxed on their contributions, and they might want some other kind of investment vehicle. The other one is it's a great way to lock in a child's insurability. So, most people in the future will need insurance, maybe for the first house, things like that. Paid up additions on a PAR plan for a child, very, very palatable premium, and again, something that's really easy, to sell to maybe more of an affluent client who has, looking for an investment vehicle. Again, maybe even looking for an alternative to a TFSA. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say whole life. In this case, I'm going to say, well, go with Sun Life here. And basically, again, same sort of process that I want to do with really with anyone. I want to design my quote. In this one, I did a PAR protector. It's more of their estate plan. I just did it for 20 years, and my client is a male, age 1. All I want to do is I say I want to use the spreadsheet. I want to download it. And again, as you can see, we'll call this baby and save it to the desktop. And again, once we save it to the desktop, again, that's all we need to it. We have that fingerprint of the plan. Sun Life is an interesting one because it comes right as a CSV, which is really nice. And again, what we're going to do here is we're going to add our whole life plan for our 1 year old, and we're going to import that CSV. So just give it a minute here for the screen share to catch up. And we'll have that product. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say import from CSV, and again, I can even drag that file from my desktop to there, or again, I can say click here to import it, and again, you can see it's just my baby one that I just saved there. So I'm going to click upload, and it's going to upload it. Now, there's really not much to this. This is, as simple as it gets, uploading whole life. The only thing, though, that I really want to point out here is that I can use this one metric, and it's down here, and it's called condensed charts. And if you've ever wondered or ever looked at it, you can always put your mouse over this question mark to see the tooltip. But basically, this is to condense those cash value charts. So one of the things we've heard over time is that if you are presenting whole life to children, it looks, if you say the analyzed age 99 and the child's 1, that's 100 years. The graph looks kind of, it's a little overkill with, again, that information. All I'm going to do is say, yes, I want to condense charts. And again, I might even just leave this one at age 85. Again, work with that time frame that makes sense. But the neat thing about using that condensed charts is that it's going to, basically change that whole life graph to look every 5 years as opposed to every single year. Every single year is fine for someone who's 50, but someone who's 1, it's a lot of information. And again, it does certainly make the premium look small, but we might want to focus more on some of the value. Again, this would be a great metric as well to use with maybe alternative investment. Maybe you want to put it against strictly a another investment out there, and again, match that same deposit. Again, so we're going to see a neat little comparison here of our premium. Again, we can see here this 20 pay. Might have to look into why, it's definitely reflected in the spreadsheet that it does go down. You can see that premium actually even in the software goes down. I'm not sure why that is. That's interesting, but anyway, that's more to ask Sun Life, I guess. I guess the premium changes there. Again, we're going to see a cost comparison. I might even remove these when presenting them and just skip something right down to these condensed charts. But as you can see, even though our client, we've done it to age 85 there, even though our client's younger, we can really show the value of, little tiny deposit here for all that cash value. And again, we're talking about something, $2,000 a year, $3,000. Let's round it up. You get $3,000 a year, $250,000 of insurance benefit. But really, we're doing kind of a forced savings account for this. For someone who is looking to shelter a little bit more money, a great way to save. Maybe you've capped out on some of your other investments. Again, great way to lock in that insurability. By the time this child here is age 20, or I think I bought insurance at around age 30. They'd already have it paid up, so they already have $800,000 of insurance benefit in there. And again, you can see even things like on a reduced example, 612. That's still more than enough. Again, I think when I was 30, getting a mortgage, I thought I would be able to buy any amount of insurance I wanted. It's not really the case. There are, the underwriting regulations. So, a great way to present it. What it looks like to the client is, you basically put in nothing. You've locked in the insurability, 1. You've got some protection, in the event something tragic happens to the child. But 2, you've got kind of this great savings vehicle that, again, if I've mentioned it a couple times, but if they've capped out of the RESP, another really neat one. And again, what I might do with this one, I'd love to show the summary because, again, those cash values are phenomenal for what we've actually deposited, especially over time. But I might use an alternative investment for this too. And again, you might pit this against a tax-free savings account and say, here's how the tax-free savings account performs. And again, of course, we wouldn't get 2.5 out of tax-free savings account. We'd probably be lucky to get, 1.5 would be more realistic. So let's change that. Let's say we get 1.5 and it's tax-free. We'll save that. And how does that compare to the cash value inside the policy? So that might be the presentation I'd sort of focus around, show the values, what you deposit versus what you get, and then really compare it to the cash value of the policy. And again, this is basically how this alternative investment metric works is you put in the net accumulation, so whatever the net interest rate is, it matches the same deposit. So it says whatever the whole life deposit is, it's matched over here, and then it just essentially runs it. And again, if you're, you look out at your child and say, look, by the time, you're 30, so this child will be age 31, if you invested that, you'd have $67,000 versus the $128 inside the policy. And again, once that cash value is in there, again, there's so many nice things we can do with it, leverage against it, all those kind of great flexible things about it. So, that's probably how I would set up a comparison for children. Now, we're running out of time, and I really want to show some of these new features. So there's 2 that I'm going to do here. So the first one, I might as well use this case that we're working on here now. Now, this feature is not actually live in the system yet. This is something that we are going to roll out with our Premier package. But let's say, again, there's phenomenal interactive features of our software. Of course, you can generate a PDF, but sometimes you want to share the interactive features with your clients, but you don't necessarily have maybe the schedule to meet them all the time or to go over some of these changes. So what you want to do is you want to share your LDA report, and normally you'd send them a PDF, but as soon as you do that, you lose some of those interactive features. So we've actually come out, and again, as I say, this is a preview to our Premier package that we will be releasing shortly with our annual billing. You can actually share any case that you've created. Now, these are all unique to you, so no one else can get the link, only you when you actually click share. It's a very unique link based on your case. The client will not be able to change any options. So when we think about focusing in on time frame, they're not able to change product, they're not even able to change time. What, though, they are able to do is interact with all those charts that you've set up. So for instance, when I create and hit share, you can see it's created a link to this case. All I have to do is copy the link, and now I can actually share this case with my clients. So I could email this to any client of mine and say, here's that sort of proposal I was thinking about. Let me know your thoughts. Now again, this is going to be something that works extremely well on mobile. So even if you text it to them, they would be able to open it on their smartphone. Any internet-connected device will be able to look into this case. And let's just give a preview again. We'll pretend we're not logged into our account. They visit the case. Let me show you what this looks like. So again, if they opened it in their email, this is again essentially what they'd be looking at here. And while it's loading here, I just want to think about different ways that we could use this. So as you can see, they get the exact look of the PDF here. There's no options to change time or anything like that. They get your full mission statement. They get whatever you've presented, but all these charts are interactive. They can play with reduced examples on the graph. They can use the interactive features here. Again, reduced example. They can play with all these interactive features of the charts, but they cannot change any options for time. You can unshare this case at any time. So again, if I ever want to unshare this case, I can simply unshare it and say, okay, it's done. I don't want you to have access to it anymore. So again, you're in full control of what you actually present to these clients. Now the other neat thing is you can also make changes. So let's say you go over the report, you share it with them, they've got this unique link, and they say, well, what if I added more money to that? Well, as soon as you update the case and they reload it, the case is actually updated on their end. So you can see, I've expired the case, I've unshared it, it's gone. So you have, that's what I mean by you have full control over this presentation. The other thing, though, it's going to do is we're building in notifications to these cases. So essentially, it's going to notify you, when your client has opened it, what they maybe was important to them. Maybe they focus more on cash value, or maybe they focus more on insurance benefit. Maybe they focus more on cost. We're going to give you insights into, what's important to them and give you a new way to interact with those clients. Studies out there are showing that people really want a digital experience with their insurance, and the insurance companies are maybe lagging a little bit behind the times. We're going to help you with that, give you new ways to present these products to your clients. Think about other ways you can use it too, though. If we think about social media a little bit, this is an interactive link that we could share anywhere. So I could share this, I might make a term conversion comparison, just a generic one, not focused on a specific client, but more conceptual, and say, this is the life cycle of a typical term policy. For your review, contact me. And I might spread that all over social media so that people could look at a comparison that I've done. So think of all the different ways that you can actually share this sort of information with your clients when it's all interactive and all online. And again, as I say, you have full control over it. In the last couple minutes here, the only other update I want to share is we've pushed out, again, another update to Whole Life. It's not, again, as I say, I'm really working hard to get rid of that spreadsheet so that it has total, reduced, and guaranteed numbers in it. What we do have, though, and what we've enabled is a search for Whole Life. So if you're looking for Whole Life Premium, again, you can go plus Whole Life and hit search. This is, again, a preview to our Premier package. And actually, what I want to do is I want to go back. I actually don't want a one-year-old here. I'm just going to change this to 50 for a second and say plus Whole Life. We want to search for rates. And again, you can change things like life pay. I might want an adjustable 10 to 20 pay. I might just want a guaranteed 20 pay. Now, right now, it only includes the guaranteed cash value. But that's still phenomenal for things like BMO's guaranteed 20 pay, because all the cash value in that is guaranteed. So for things like a guaranteed 20 pay with guaranteed cash value, like your non-traditional PARs, where no paid up addition, it doesn't increase, you're going to be able to use the cash value in there. And again, I'm just going to take out this one-year-old plan. just to show you again, I haven't imported any spreadsheet. I just did a search for whole life like I would term, and I'm going to generate the report. And again, it's really easily going to show, how I can add whole life without that pesky spreadsheet, because I know I have heard the feedback. And again, trust me, I'm trying to get rid of it as much as anyone, but there are some advantages to the spreadsheet. I just want to show you here without using a spreadsheet again, and I've still got the condensed charts on. We can see all that guaranteed cash value of the product. So again, if you use fully guaranteed products, there's a lot of great ones out there. A phenomenal way to add whole life and do it, again, from any different device. So that sort of caps off our webinar. The only other thing I wanted to mention is we've also added a couple new members to the team. So over the course of working with us, you may hear from people like Pascal Latour, Charlotte Campion, who is more focused on our Quebec market. Again, they're phenomenal at helping with cases. We've added a new member, Jeff Bennett, to the team, and we've got a new CEO, Barry Crowler. So, you may hear from these different people. We also have a partnership that we've just announced, and you'll see it in the media, with Kronos, a fantastic CRM. We focus so much on the presentation of products to consumers and how you can present insurance solutions. It's so hard to be a full-fledged CRM. So what Kronos does extremely well is, they get your data of all your in-force policies, of all your clients. They do mail merges. A full-fledged CRM paired with our software makes a great all-in-one solution for advisors. So you'll see some information coming up, but if it's something you're interested in, please get in touch with us for more information. So that wraps up the webinar. If you have any feedback, or if you want to see future topics, if you have ideas of your own, get in touch with us, charlie@lifedesignanalysis.com. And I just want to say I really appreciate everyone taking time, especially in this busy season. Hopefully you've got some ideas for clients that you can approach. If you haven't signed up, definitely sign up for the 30-day free trial. And if you're sitting in this expired, don't wait. Get on our software right now. Again, you're going to increase your sales and save your time. So thanks so very much, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.